Okay, so till now we have discussed about different terms related to conduction system of heart. We know that our heart is negative chronotropic. That means our heart rate cannot be regulated by heart itself. It is negatively chronotropic. So in today's lecture we will discuss how heart rate is regulated, and this is the diagram of the baroreceptor reflex. We know that blood pressure is equal to total peripheral resistance into cardiac output, and cardiac output in turn is equal to the multiplication of heart rate and stroke volume. Though heart rate due to SNOD is constant, that is 72 times per minute, but we know that it is not always constant. That means heart rate fluctuates during our daytime, isn't it? So how does the heart rate is? See, this is the diagram. Here we have heart. This is aorta and this is brachiocephalic artery and then common carotid arteries. These common carotid arteries bifurcates into external and internal carotid arteries. At the junction of this carotid artery bifurcation and in the aorta, we have checkpoints which regulates our blood pressure and the composition of our blood. These are carotid sinus and carotid bodies and aortic sinus and aortic bodies. These carotid sinus and aortic sinus regulates our blood pressure. There are receptors in the wall of our arteries in the carotid sinus and aortic sinus. When these arteries get stretched, when there is increase in the blood pressure, there will be a signal from this carotid sinus and aortic sinus. Suppose blood pressure is increased, so there will be stretching in the walls. These will cause stimulation of these receptors and in turn glossopharyngeal nerve which is emerging from this carotid sinus. Similarly, vagus nerve is emerging from aortic sinus. These nerve carry signal of this increased blood pressure to this part of the brain, that is medulla oblongata. In medulla, we have cardiac centers which regulates heart rate. If there is increased blood pressure, these glossopharyngeal nerves and vagus nerve will stimulate cardio-inhibitory center here. Now, in turn, this cardio-inhibitory center will send signal to SN node or AV node to reduce heart rate through vagus nerve. So, there will be reduction in the heart rate. The heart rate will be reduced. In turn, the cardiac output will be decreased, and so blood pressure will be decreased. Similarly, if there is decrease in the blood pressure, the stretching in the wall will be reduced, and this reduced stretching will also cause stimulation of glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve, and in turn they will excite the cardioacceleratory center, and through sympathetic nervous system this center will stimulate our heart to increase the heart rate. So this is our baroreceptor. Baro means pressure. So these carotid sinus and aortic sinus will cause a reflex to maintain our blood pressure. The baroreceptor reflex is most important reflex to maintain our blood pressure. The maximum discharge is at 180 mm of Hg and minimum discharge is at 60 mm of Hg. This is most important reflex, but it is not most potent reflex. Most potent reflex is CNS ischemic reflex, when reduction in the blood pressure is so much that the even carotid sinus and aortic sinus cannot now produce any signal because the pressure is even below 60 mm of Hg. When such kind of pressure, such kind of condition is there, the blood supply to brain is reduced, and in this case our brain will produce last ditch effort in the form of CNS ischemic reflex, where there will be sympathetic stimulation and our heart rate will be increased, but it is the last ditch effort. This is most potent reflex. This is the graphical representation of how heart rate changes in time during exercise. On x-axis we have time and on y-axis we have heart rate, and this portion represents exercise. We can see that the heart rate is increased even before the physical work, even before the starting of exercise there is increase in the heart rate. It is due to anticipatory tachycardia, in which our body prepares itself for next movement, next exercise. After that, when the exercise is started, in the initial movement we have proprioceptor stimulation. They are present at all the joints which produces signal, and these will cause increased heart rate. At last, due to prolonged exercise, there will be accumulation of local and humoral factors like increased carbon dioxide, increased lactic acid. These will signal the brain to increase the heart rate, and so there will be increase in the heart rate due to prolonged exercise. So these are the causes of increased heart rate. So due to prolonged exercise, there will be increased venous return in the heart, and this will in turn stretch our right atrium. So from the right atrium, there will be a stimulation to the brain to increase heart rate because of the stretching of this right atrium, and this is called as brain bridge reflex. So there are many causes to increase heart rate: anticipatory tachycardia, proprioceptor stimulations, local and humoral factors, and brain bridge reflex during exercise to increase the heart rate. But after, we can see that at the end of exercise there is no sudden drop of heart rate to normal level. The heart rate decreases gradually to normal level because of oxygen depth. Our body has consumed lot of oxygen and now it is in the depth of oxygen. So we have to compensate that oxygen loss in the form of gradual decrease in the heart rate. Now systolic blood pressure is always increasing in the exercise, as we know, because the heart rate is increased. So when we compare this normal heart with transplanted heart, there is a striking difference in the diagram of heart rate and stroke volume. In normal heart, we have seen that during exercise, heart rate is increased, but in transplanted heart, there will be no increase in the heart rate during exercise. This is important difference between normal and transplanted heart. In turn, stroke volume is increased slightly during exercise in the normal heart, but it will be increased in transplanted heart during exercise. So this is the basic difference between normal heart and transplanted heart. Oxygen consumption and cardiac output will be increased in both of them, but heart rate is increased in normal heart and stroke volume is increased in transplanted heart. So stroke volume is almost same in the normal heart, and the left ventricular afterload is also almost same in the isotonic exercise, that is, the tone in the exercise is same. Now what about blood flow? Blood flow in the skeletal muscle, heart and lung is increased during exercise because our skeletal muscles requires high blood flow during exercise. So it is increased in skeletal muscles. Also heart requires lot of blood during exercise, so heart and lungs gets higher blood flow. It will be decreased in liver, spleen and non-exercising muscles during exercise. Okay, it will be constant in the brain, and this is very much important fact. The blood flow to brain is always constant no matter what, and in the skin it will first decrease and then increase. The increased blood flow in the skin during later stage of the exercise will help to cool down the body by perspiration. So let's discuss some more important facts. Heart rate decreases in expiration, grief and fear, that is terror. When we are afraid, the heart rate will be decreased. Heart rate increases in inspiration, exercise and anger. But cardiac output doesn't change in moderate environmental temperature changes or during sleep. It is constant in these conditions.